Hey guys, Gary J here. We're going to be looking at some perfect point throwing knives. And this is a nice set of knives here. There's 12 knives in this package here. This is perfect point. And these are really economy type knives, I would say. And it's really a nice set for the money. And this is a nice nylon carrier for these knives right here. And they're very nice design knives too. And this is what they look like. Very nice design as a throwing knife. These make good throwing knives. That design. And also on the other side here, these are black, and they're kind of hard to see right there. But if we look at the length of these knives right here, and they are identical in size. And so looking at the length of them, they are 8.5 inches, 8.5 inches long, which to me, that's about as short a throwing knife that I want. Would be probably 8.5 inches. And they are a little bit thin here. If you measure them, you measure them here, they're only 1/8 of an inch thick. So they are pretty thin. They'd be nicer, I think, if they were a little bit thicker, twice as thick or 3 times as thick. They would work out real well, I think. And but for the price of these knives and what you can do with them, they're really nice. And so we got an 1/8 of an inch thickness right here, and we have a knife that's 8.5 inches long, and you can throw them with a no spin throw. And this hole here, like a lanyard hole, you can grip that with your thumb and throw them vertically, or you can lay it back like this right here, horizontal, and throw. And you can throw them by the blade too, of course, with a pinch grip. And you can lay it back too if you want to, put it on your throwing method. But for what these are, they throw really well. And again, I would like them a little bit thicker, but the design is really, really nice. Now, as far as throwing these, 7 feet 10 inches is the distance that I use throwing these at the target, using a pinch grip on the handle, 7 feet 10 inches. And if you're going to be throwing them by the blade, then I think I'm throwing these at 10 feet 7 inches, throwing them by the blade, 10 feet 7 inches. And they throw really well. The only thing about these small blades is that you got to be pretty good at, and it's good for your form and technique, but you've got to release them at the same distance. You can't release them here on one throw and then farther out on the next, or release them here and then release them short. You got to be consistent with your throwing on these, and you got to have the same speed when you throw them. You can't throw them a little faster or a little slower and expect the same results. And once you understand that with these kind of knives, and they really will help your form and make you more consistent, I think, to a certain extent, with your throwing. And since they're so thin here, doing the no spin throw, you can't go out real far with no spin on these right here because they're just kind of flimsy. One thing I would say that one warning about these type of knives, and these are great knives right here, but you have to respect them because they're thin, and I've noticed that if you're throwing at eye level, then if it hits the tree wrong for some reason, sideways, it will bounce off the tree like most knives, but these will bounce back a lot farther. If you're throwing 8 feet from a tree or from your target, depending on if you got a vertical target and you hit eye level, this thing will bounce back, not just 8 feet. If you threw it 8 feet, it'll bounce back more than 8 feet, sometimes 15 feet. This thing could come back and hit you in the eye, and it would put out your eye. So if you're not good at throwing these yet, what you want to do is throw them at an angle downward, and that way they'll deflect right or left. Or they may come back at you, but they're generally not going to hit you in the face or anything like that if you're throwing at an angle downward. So that would be one warning that I would give you about throwing these kind of knives, because I have thrown them, and I'm not throwing them super hard either. So I've seen them bounce back 15, 16 feet off the tree because they just hit perfectly wrong for whatever reason. And that's me, not the knife itself. Now I paid $29.99 for this set of 12 knives here from Optic Planet. And that's a great company to do business with, I think. And I bought like $50 or $60 worth of stuff, and so I didn't have to pay shipping on anything. And so I got these for basically $30 and no shipping cost to that. On eBay, you can find these, and they run about $32, $34, and then you have to pay $10 or $12 for shipping. So you have, $40, $44 in a set. So Optic Planet is real good about that, absorbing the shipping if you buy a few things from them. So this is really a nice knife set to play with. You can play with these indoors too. One thing about them is that the blades are sharp. They're not razor sharp, but they are sharp enough that they can cut your finger. And so, if you're just going to be using them for throwing, and that's probably all you really want to use these kind of blades for, is take and dull these blades with a piece of metal, a metal file or something. Dull them so they don't cut your finger. Because really, when throwing knives, you just need the point here to be sharp a little bit. So I'd warn you about that. But they do throw well. And like any other knife that you get, you have to learn the ins and outs of that particular knife. Now, since you have 12 of these, 6 of them are silver polished stainless, and these 6 right here are stainless, but they're like black powder coated on this side over here. So you have 12. You don't want to throw all 12 into a group, because you're going to end up nicking or breaking chips out of the stainless steel. One thing about stainless steel, it don't bend so much, it chips. And so you break a point or something like that. So I would just have 2 or 3 targets that I'm throwing at, close together, and throw these out at those targets, like 4 at each target or something like that. Great knife for the money though, $30. I have a brother who owns a machine and fabricating shop, and I can tell you, if you took this knife to him and you told him, I need you to build me a knife just like this. Well, when you cut out the metal and then you use a milling machine or whatnot, depending on how you want to do it, you could have more than $30 in somebody making one of these knives for you. So to get 12 of them for $30, and they come from China, so they're not, they don't charge that much to make them there, and still they're making a profit off of them. But a nice little throwing knife. Just a big warning. If you're throwing at eye level to your target, be careful. That thing can bounce back and put your eye out. And these blade points are sharp too. And so make sure you throw downward if you're not used to throwing knives. And if you throw, you want to have on safety glasses. They make safety glasses that look like sunglasses that you can get from a lot of different hardware stores like Lowe's and places like that. And they only run like $14 for a pair of safety glasses. So you want to be really careful throwing these because they will bounce back, and they bounce back so fast that you won't know it until it's too late. So they could hit you in the face too. So, but all knives are like that. So just be careful with these kind of knives. But really, a nice set of knives though, for $30, and a nice case right here. That's the material here, this nylon is really good. You're not going to tear that. So I think you would really like these knives here. We'll show you some video on throwing them so you get an idea. Thanks for watching, Gary J. Be throwing these blades. They're 8.5 inches long, perfect point blades, what they're called, and weigh about 3.2 ounces. Throwing them by the handle at 7 feet 6 inches. Perfect 3 o'clock throw there. Good throw there. That was close. Here we go. These right here, you see where our target is right here. It's only about an inch wide, 1.25 inches high, and our knives right here. That fell out. It was right here, and so we're kind of all around it. You can see, not too terribly bad, but these knives right here, hadn't really thrown these before, so there's a little stuck in there good. It's a little learning curve on these right here. And you can kind of see all these kind of grouped like this right here. there. Pull those down. A little overspin on those. This right here is a perfect 3 o'clock right here in the target. This is a perfect 3 o'clock sideways though. So really not too terribly bad. Grouping is good, okay. Right there is not too bad. But it'd be nice if they had a little bit more weight to them, but for the price of them, it's a really good deal. It's a real steal on these at the price of $30 for 12 of these. And I'm only throwing like 7 of them. So that's not too bad for one of these. And I'm throwing it 7 feet 6 inches, 7 feet 6 inches by the a handle. I'm throwing these by the handle like this right here, pinch grip. And the only thing with a pinch grip, you got to release. Well, use the same pressure when you release. If you squeeze it too hard, it's going to throw it off a little bit. They're more sensitive with smaller knives than they are with larger, to me. I'll be throwing these by the blade, 10 foot 6 inches. It's not too bad. A little underspin on some of these right here. And they're close if we line them up a little bit. We can see that the grouping is not too bad. Within about 4-inch group, that's not too bad for most of the blades right there. So they throw really well even at 10 feet. Yes, 10 feet 6 inches. They throw real well. I noticed I feel a few little rough spots on them where they ding a little bit, because really you don't want to throw that many knives at one little small target. See my finger, how small that is. So I'm aiming for something pretty small. So the blades do hit, and when they get nicks on them, I take a Dremel tool and just lightly take the nicks off of it, or the burrs on it that could hurt your finger. Okay, we can throw these with a no spin too. That's a no spin throw. Not too bad. Let me straighten these out. And right around the target. So this is not too bad on no spin. It's just they're so light, you have to get a feel for them being that light. At least for me anyway. But that's a no spin. One thing I will mention, when you have these blades, because they're thin, 1/8 of an inch thick, when you pull them out of your targets and stuff, make sure you pull them up and down the way they go in. If you go to the right and left, you will break off the point. You can break the points on these real easy. So people complain about some of these thin knives, breaking all the time. If you're throwing them on concrete and stuff like that, that's going to happen. But like if you're out here in the woods and stuff like that, you got dirt ground and trees or round targets to throw at, you shouldn't have a problem. But I can tell, throwing a bunch of them, they get little burrs on them. That's one thing about stainless, it gets burrs on it. And I just take a Dremel tool and barely touch it up just to make sure it's smooth, because you don't want it nicking your hand. But these are nice knives for the money right here. Thanks for watching, guys.